start right out the gate with that song. Why do you pick that song? Noodle.
I was noodling it. It's my it's a song called Look. Is that? Just like the.
Did you write that song?
Yeah. About 30 years ago.
Oh, now the hard-hitting question is why did you write the song? What's it about? Oh, now I want to hear it. And that's how that happens.
That was someday actually. That's what this one's called. It was actually about being a musician and getting discouraged with the fact that you're trying to become a musician, make a go at it, and it's just not happening. That was kind of where the main idea came from. That's why I'm thankful. Yeah. I can start that if you want.
I'll feel like a good spot to start with.
Before we get the real one.
You are a real deal all the time.
Day by day I can feel it fade away. In my mind, in my heart, someday. Fortune's there and I can't find it. Fate is there and I will find it someday. Sometimes I know where I'm headed. Sometimes I feel all alone. Someday I'll get where I'm headed. Someday I'll be home. Day by day I can feel myself give in. Feel the feet build up under my skin. Stand my ground, find my way through this. Taking deep, I find my way there someday. Sometimes I know where I'm headed. Sometimes I feel all alone. Someday I'll get where I'm headed. Someday I'll be home.
There's a little solo there, let me skip that part.
Well, that sounded amazing. Why that finger picking style?
I just like the way it kind of rolled.
Does it remind you of a particular artist?
I mean, looking back, I can see at the time I was listening to a lot of Fleetwood Mac and stuff like that. Lindsey Buckingham, doing his, like he had a lot of that
Okay.
finger style stuff on, but it was just something I was starting around with. It just kind of came out that way.
All of my hard-hitting questions here.
I get hit with those.
What was the very first song you learned?
First song I
The very
learned.
first song you ever learned on
Yeah, Louie Louie was I can remember it actually. I had picked up acoustic guitar. I wanted to be a bass player. I always wanted to play bass. Never wanted to play guitar at all.
Why?
I was into Duran Duran in the 80s, and like John Taylor on bass I just loved the sound of it. My dad didn't want to buy me a bass. He's like,
you'll not be able to pick up a bass at a party and like have a sing-song. Like you want to get a guitar. And he had an acoustic guitar at home, so I picked that up and tried to learn how to play that and kind of failed miserably at it and threw it back in the corner. But then a neighbor bought an electric guitar, and I was over at his place with another friend who had some drums, and I was watching them play. And I was like, let me try that out just to take what little I learned on acoustic, because that's what they were trying to play. And when I picked up the electric, it was so much easier to play.
I heard that.
Oh yeah, like, I mean, it was just like, especially the acoustic that I had was a really old acoustic with high action. Like you're like just gripping it, pushing the strings down, you couldn't get anywhere with it. And when I picked up the electric, and I could play that, and it was like, wow, that's actually easy on this thing. And then I was like, I was sold. So yeah, that was the first song. I can still
So did
remember
you pick that song because you really love the song?
No, I don't even know if I knew the song. They were actually trying to play it at the time, and he was having a hard time with it. So I thought, well, hey, let me try it out. And I tried it out. It was like, hey, that's actually not too hard.
Okay, next one. What was your very first band? Oh no.
First band. I'm trying to think if this was the first one or not, but I had a really good friend in high school. We're still good friends now. He wanted to put together a punk band, but it was based on the idea that punk bands couldn't play their instruments. So he actually had a whole bunch of people that couldn't play. He was like, well, you can kind of play guitar, so that still like fits. So we had this band called D-Zone that did some very off-the-wall stuff. We were like an underground hit. We were recording stuff on cassettes.
Okay, so your very first concert.
You didn't
first
know
show.
First concert?
Like the first show that you performed, but then also what was your first concert that you went to?
Oh, okay. First concert I went to, I believe, was actually a Corey Hart concert at the Moncton Coliseum by myself because some kids across the street found a ticket on the street. They found they were too young to go, so they brought it over to me and said, "Hey, you want to go to it?" So I was like, "Corey Hart, sure." It's just down the street, so I
Nice.
went and checked it out.
And the first show you ever performed?
Yeah, it would have been like a variety show at our high school, Harrison Trimble in Moncton. I had another band called TCM that I got into.
TCM?
It was actually the guitar player's amp. The model on it was TCM, or the brand, and we were like, yeah, that's what we're called.
It's almost like the Righteous Brothers. They didn't have a name at first, and they walked out of the concert, and so it was like, that was Righteous Brother, and then that was their name.
Oh.
The weird little tidbits that I remember.
I did not know that.
What was the first song you ever wrote?
First song? Oh, God.
I told you, the hard-hitting questions.
I thought we were going to talk to Sherri.
She's good too.
First song I ever wrote. I first started kind of writing songs back in the 90s with a band that I was in called Separate Ways with, well, actually they're not all here anymore. Gavin Coughlin is in Newfoundland, Carl Gans. A lot of people know him from playing with everybody. We actually wrote quite a few songs. Gavin did most of the writing, but there's a few that I had written. That was one of them that we just did someday. There was another one that I wrote called Look that I think was probably the first song I wrote. But,
Absolutely.
yeah, they're great. This one is, yeah, I wrote this probably about 92-ish. And it was, at the time, kind of about climate change, believe it or not.
Oh, very Joni Mitchell of you.
Yeah. Nothing's the same as it was then. Who is to blame it on yourself? Done it again. And then. Open up your eyes. Don't be afraid to make it sad. Changes are needed to the myths in our head. Look around you, all you see signs of prosperity and the scars of change you led. Before it's all been done again, make sure what you started, you finished. When you parted, you stop before you start again. Mandolin solo will be going in here. Everybody look, there was a time when it was said all that was needed was a dream in your head. Look around you, all you see signs of prosperity and the scars of change you left. Little mess ups in there. It's been a while since I played it.
Sherri, what's showing up?
Boy, okay.
Well, I got a big question for you too.
See, it's because you write songs like that I just didn't think I could love you more as a friend. I really didn't.
And he's a punk rocker.
Oh, no. Well, that's not a big. That. I gotta be honest. I don't care about that.
I kind of want to hear.
The-
Like, can we get the song somewhere? Are they somewhere that we can hear?
They are, but that's as far as they'll go.
I've got a few like.
We there's a funny story actually in Moncton. Like we went to Harrison Trimble High School, and it's kind of like a north side south side thing. There's
Yeah.
Riverview right across the river,
Yep.
and the guy that was in the band with me was dating a girl from Riverview High, and he went over to a variety show at Riverview High. He's like watching the show where there's all kinds of people coming out, you know, doing like skits and stuff. And then this group came out and they did an air band to one of our songs. Totally unbeknownst to him. We had no clue that anybody had even heard the stuff. And he was just like totally floored that that these people knew the song and didn't air band. It was hilarious. But, and anyways, a lot of my lifelong friends, my roommate in university was somebody who I met through that whole connection. It turned out that one of the guys that was recording the stuff that we did, his cousin went to Riverview and he had shared the tape with him, and then it like went everywhere through. So it was, but again, it's not great stuff. It was funny.
Wasn't that the whole point? You make music so that other people can interpret it their own way?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so what was the first song you guys ever did together?
Oh my god.
The first song we ever played together.
Not play, just
What did you do
just
when
jams
you came
together.
for the audition? When you came for the audition, what?
Yeah, so a little history. I've been playing with Sherri for 16-ish years now. Started in A Track Mind. I had gone to audition. They've been together for what? I think it was about 4 years.
Yeah, about 4. Yeah, 4.
Yeah, and their singer decided he was done with it, so they asked me to come audition. And A Track has a wide variety of music they do. So we had Grease song. We did, what else did we do? There was the,
The one about the candy.
Lighthouse.
Yes.
Candy and a light.
Oh no, it's a different one. There's one that's similar.
One Fine Morning, yeah.
One Fine Morning.
By Lighthouse. I'd never even heard the song before, but it was a real horn-based song that they wanted to make sure I could do that stuff. I think we did.
And you weren't even playing guitar with us yet.
I think we might have done that.
Wild Cherry.
Funky,
Yeah, play that funky music.
Yeah.
Or,
Wild Cherry.
there was there was about 5 or 6 songs that we played, that was literally that was the first time that I'd ever sang with you. So like doing.
Yeah. It was amazing because we had quite a few folks show some interest, and there were some really, great people. One of them was a childhood friend that showed up, and they were all fine, but there was something missing. But when Dano hit the stage, or hit the room that we were in, it was pretty obvious who we were choosing. I was like, we don't need to have another meeting.
Yeah, we clicked pretty quick actually.
Yeah.
Music clicks. Why does that?
That's the place that used to be down just past Tim Hortons, down behind.
Yeah.
That's where they were having the auditions. So I had gone down there and learned my 5 or 6 songs, and
Did you ever?
I actually have a video of that too.
He has a rich voice. I think for 4 years it was till we turned Dan down.
Yeah, you never have trouble hearing me.
So then what was
So-
the
so-
first big song that you guys did? You just knew that. You knew it clicked. What was that song?
Maybe, for me, it was when we did the Stevie Wonder. Yeah.
I was singing the same one. I wish.
Yeah, I wish. I think because,
You guys still do it?
How many track we do it?
Yeah, we do it.
It's not something I can do with acoustic really, but
Yeah, we do. We still do it. We pull it out for every other show or so. And with the big band,
So wait, so how many bands have you guys been in together?
just 3.
Now collectively, how many bands have you guys all been in?
I haven't been in that many really. Do you count? Do I count my parents? Because that's.
you sang with them quite a bit.
Well, yeah. Like we were a church group. We sang, in Nova Scotia and Maine, and
I'm gonna need more details on that. What?
Well, that's where I come from, kind of. Yeah.
Maine or church?
Church groups.
Okay.
Church groups. No, it was my parents were. I think it was their way of kind of keeping the family doing things together. And Mom and Dad were both amazing singers, so 2 of their 3 girls were not bad. We just didn't turn the other girl's microphone.
Always one.
But she was beautiful, so she was beautiful. She made us look good.
That was the worst backhanded compliment. Oh my god.
Well, there's always one. There's always one.
So then after the church, what was the first band after your church stint?
I was asked to be in a band, but then I wasn't allowed because I had to sing Christian music. But the first, I figured,
Like your first rebel band.
it wasn't mine,
Was
but
that Pet Rock?
well, the first band that I got to sing with was Downtown Blues.
Oh, Downtown Blues, yeah.
So I guested with them for a little while, and then I went and answered an ad in the paper and just kept kicking my way through that to so that they would finally let me come and sing. They kept saying they need someone, with a big personality, and they needed somebody with a big voice, and they needed somebody that was not afraid to really belt. And I kept like, that's me! It's me! Anyway, so yeah. Pet Rock.
Pet Rock?
Yeah.
Okay.
I hated the name. But I was outvoted. It was like Mike Bidlake and Dwayne Hardgrove and Terry Whalen.
Oh yeah, Terriers in there.
Actually, Todd Obie, like, it was a pretty good lineup.
Yeah.
So,
And coincidentally, at the same time, I was in a band called Bedrock.
How very serendipitous.
Yeah.
yeah.
Bedrock and Pet Rock. All the rocks.
And then his gorgeous wife Lori was in another band, and they kept thinking I was her, but nobody thought she was me.
She goes back to that all the time.
Whatever, I hate Lori.
Oh.
It's out there, Lori.
But she knows where we are.
She does.
She does. I do this all the
So
time.
who is your favorite musical lyricist?
I have to say, I really love Pink. Especially Pink. No, I love Pink. I think she sort of portrayed herself very much as an outsider. And I felt like she hit a lot of issues, like that whole with Don't Let Me Get Me, never been first choice, all of that.
I love Pink. I get it.
Yeah, so I really loved how she was unafraid to be unabashedly strong and female, and not look like they say you're supposed to look.
Oh, I've seen videos of how she trains to sing, and she's got people like jumping on her stomach.
We
and
saw her
singing
in
right
Montreal.
down, and-
What, when she's like flying around the stadium on wires and stuff, and singing at the same time. Amazing.
Yeah, I don't know if she does.
I get winded walking up the stairs. I don't know.
I found it hard to come in from the car, really.
You were carrying lots of stuff.
Yeah, mostly a lot of emotional baggage.
So who is your favorite guitarist? All-time favorite guitarist. You hear it, and it's one of those like if you come, if she comes on the radio or something, you're like, I can't leave the car until the song's done.
Well, that puts a twist on it because a lot of the guitar players that I like you rarely ever hear on the radio.
Oh.
And I mean, Joe Satriani is one of the bigger influences. Doesn't show up in my playing, but I mean, his guitar playing, Joe Satriani, he does mostly instrumental guitar. He had an album back in the early 90s, Surfing with the Alien that came out that. It was just like,
And before that, he taught most of the 80s string guitar.
yeah, like he taught Steve Vai, he's taught
Kirk Hammett.
Kirk Hammett, like he's taught all these guys.
Nice.
And I mean, he is, like when it comes to guitar player, I got to see him in Moncton when he actually came here. But I don't know, with guitar, I've never been one to say like there's like a favorite guitar player because they're all so different. Like Tommy Emmanuel, like my God.
One of the best concerts I've ever been to.
Like I've gotten to see him twice, and watching him play acoustic guitar is like a religious experience. I mean, the guy is,
Nice.
he's unreal. But I mean, Andy Summers from the Police, loved listening to the Police in the 80s. His stuff was just different melodically, but the stuff that he did with the writing, I mean, listen to Police music, kind of comes through. Trying to think of who else. I mean, Eric Clapton.
Prince.
Actually, Prince, Prince is a phenomenal guitar player. Yeah. That's what I mean. Like they're all different too. Like, it's hard to put a finger on. Oh, they're my favorite because there's so much good stuff out there.
Oh, I get that. It's kind of like asking who's your favorite dinosaur, and then you need at least your third and
Yeah.
fourth favorite dinosaur.
I often think about that.
Okay. Worst performance you ever did.
Oh, I got so many. Who are you asking?
Both, both and together.
Okay, I would say, oh God, so many. Okay, but if I were to pick one, it was back when they still had Miss Fredericton, and it was after all that stuff, after it had been done, well, they were doing a big dinner to send off Miss Miss Fredericton to Miss Canada. So I had been asked to sing at this fundraising dinner, and it was at Sweetwater's, which is now Horizon. Right. So anyway, it was absolutely lovely, and then it was, they gave me a wireless mic to sing. So I'm standing in the middle of this dance floor alone, singing a Wilson Phillips song. Memories. And then it was malfunctioning, and I couldn't, and then that was killing my confidence, and it was cutting out, and I could just see all the people. I mean, there have been many bad performances for many different reasons, but I would say that they eventually just put me in the DJ booth, and I sang from the DJ booth, which worked out well, but that was bad for that reason. There's a million other reasons.
It's funny when you ask that. I mean, I always love to play, and normally I don't care if there's like people there or not. Like if I get a chance to go and play, it's always good. Of course, you mess up stuff, and I tell people, like, you know, it doesn't matter how much you rehearse, like, you're going to mess up in the moment, like, it's live, like, that's the way it goes. But as far as, like, worst performances that come to mind, we played at the Superstore down here. When they first opened it, they've got a balcony up there. It was my old band, Next Door Neighbors. They wanted to have music at the grocery store. So we were on the balcony playing to people shopping in the grocery store. They paid us well. It was the weirdest experience. Like watching people picking out broccoli while you're like strumming away. So it's, I wouldn't say it's the worst, but the weirdest experience, definitely. It was a bizarre, and we did it more than once.
I mean, weird, that's a whole other question for me.
Okay, now I've got that. What was your weirdest performance?
Sitting in King's Place in a sleigh, not singing Christmas songs. I didn't know any. They hired me to sing, and I had all this karaoke, you know, on tape, canned music. So it was Christmas time. I'm like, I don't have any Christmas songs. So I sang 10 songs, none of them being Christmas songs, sitting in a sleigh.
Were you dressed up or anything?
No, I didn't. Look, I was bored.
How did you get that gig?
I was working in the bookstore there, and there were a bunch of people. It was not long after the Miss Fredericton thing, because I was in that thing, so that was how people found out that I could sing. So everybody there knew, so they just asked me to sing.
I can think of one of the worst 8-track shows that we had.
Wait, be careful. What are you talking about?
It was the basketball one. You remember the basketball one that we played at? I don't know if it was the Sheraton at the time, down at the Delta, where there was a big basketball tournament in town. They had families from everywhere, and they needed to raise money for next year's tournament, right? Because they have all these people go on they send the teams on trips. They need to have money for that. They're like, we're going to have a fundraiser dance on the Saturday night after the tournament all week. So all the parents are here all week. I don't know if you've ever been to a tournament where you had to go all week. On Saturday night, the last thing you want to do is go to a big dance. And we got set up. We had Jeff Melanson doing sound. We had a big stage and everything.
That was lonely.
There literally was nobody. Nobody showed up. We're all ready to play. They had the big ballroom, and there was just the organizers there. That literally was probably the worst show because we really didn't play. I think we got up and played just because we were set up. But,
Paid practice.
Yeah. I felt bad for them.
They must have felt that was a good investment for sure. They must have been very pleased. They laid the money down for that.
Yeah. We've had a couple of those.
I mean, or that wedding we played where they set the dance floor up as far as away. Well, they had the dance floor as far away as possible, where the people were at the other end.
The one in Morocco?
The one in Morocco, and then like nobody was making eye contact with anybody. Like it was, because usually there's a lot of. Well, anybody who was here last night would have seen all the, between So they were dancing as far away from us as they could, trying desperately not to make eye contact. And then finally, somebody came up. Oh my God! They're going to interact with the band. But the bathroom was behind us.
They were just on the way.
Was it like a hostage situation kind of wedding? Like, don't make eye contact?
I mean, I didn't know. I didn't apparently.
But it was one of those ones where there's a big dance floor, almost too big, so nobody wants to go out on the dance floor, right?
Yeah.
Like nobody wants to be the first one. So we're up there playing. Everyone's like they're in high school. They're all like lined up around this big dance floor. They're just like.
I don't mind being the stumbling auntie going on the dance floor and getting stuff going on.
I mean, eventually people got up. Like you got to be at that.
They did not get close to us though. They still stood at the other end.
Yeah.
It was fine. And we had a really fun gig the week before, I believe. So it's always good to have those because I feel like it keeps you grounded. Like, you're a weekend warrior, honey. You are. It keeps you real.
Well, do you guys want to do a couple songs for us?
Sure.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, we'll
Start. We'll get Garry to come up and join us on a song or two. Oh yeah, I'm gonna slide it over.
All right, we're going to start getting questions.
You want to?
I gotta sit now. You sit.
I mean, how specific do you want me to be?
Not too specific.
Well,
Okay.
specific about the fact that I did not write it. This man did with her. But I've been getting to play it a lot.
So, years back, I had a breakup, like years and years back. And I remember I was trying to process it without being too terribly public. I was not in a good place. I don't think I was in a good place for like 8 years. So anyway, I remember it was about 5 days later, and I had tried to make pickles, and I had failed miserably. And also, the relationship was ending at the same time. And I remember I posted, and I said, 3 things that I have learned. Number 1, pickling spice and pickling brine are not interchangeable. Number 2, you can't fit 5 pounds of sugar or 10 pounds of sugar into a 5-pound sack. That's another story. And number 3, you can't make enough love for 2. So anyway, Garry and I had been, because we're very good friends, and had been chatting, and we'd sort of been going back and forth about the idea for this song. Tell me, Garry, if I'm wrong. And then he sort of had seen that and reminded me of it on my feed, and then we started going back and forth over Messenger, just creating that song. Did I get that right? And yeah.
Where's that?
Well, how did we get here? Where'd our love go? try love, you couldn't change your mind. Well, I guess I could wait, but I know we're fading time. You would have ever thought you and I could go on. Used to be good enough, but we couldn't, love's gone. And I'd gladly take you all the way to Georgia. And if I got $20, so do you. And I would not hesitate to share whatever's on my plate, but I can't make enough love for two. Will I drink tonight? I'm bitter when I'm broken, because it feels like I have just lost my best friend. We're saving all the words I haven't spoken. I'm afraid of what I might say in the end. So I'll take my cat, you take your dog, and we'll divide up the stuff. I'll put it on the truck and home. And why some things grow, why some things die. At the end of the day, there's nothing to say but goodbye. And I'd gladly take you all the way to Georgia. And if I got $20, so do you. And I would not hesitate to share whatever's on my plate, but I can't make enough love for two. And I'd gladly take you all the way to Georgia. And if I got $20, so do you. And I would not hesitate to share whatever's on my plate, but I can't make enough love for two. No, I can't make enough love for two.
That's beautiful, heartbreaking and beautiful all at the same time.
Well, I mean, breakups, I mean, listen, I love singing about, cutting my bangs off and, just standing and screaming. Listen, that was me. I'm sure it was me more than once. But sometimes a relationship ends not because you hate each other, it just ends. And you can still love each other from further away. Now this next song,
Speaking of love.
sometimes someone comes into your life to remind you that you could have gone your whole goddamn life, never met them, it would have been so much better. But you can't get away from them because you work with them, or they live next door, or they live up the stairs. Or not. And this is called Ms. Malice. Totally not biographical. It is commonly accepted, what you give out will come back. Hurting people hurt more people. That's a documented fact. I suppose you think you're helping with your watchful oversight when you make all phone in your tie, run in your truck. I got wonder left to stand out, so please don't push your love. With malice, something your love is out. It's somebody take your parking space, show coffee, cream, or sour. And when you find your scares each night and put yourself to bed, are you ever haunted by the deeds you've done and the nasty things you said? Okay. I don't need to borrow a cup of sugar. We don't need to braid each other's hair. You don't need to buy my girl back cookies. You don't need to make me think you care. Write this song, I'll say it again. Now what you get will be just what you get. I'd appreciate if you could move your house. I invite you to leave with me. There's malice up in your love is out. Are you happy with the life you lead? Why do you look so downward? Over. Do you hate the life you live with nobody left to love you and always fight to give? There's malice up in your lovely town. Did somebody take your parking space? Did somebody steal your power? Now enough that loud ain't easy. Had a share of a rain. Mind your own damn business before more malice comes your way. And that can't be for setting anyone's tires on fire.
Well, music. Well,
Thank you, Garry.
How many songs have you?
That was fun.
Well, I've probably written about 10, 11. About 8 of them were lost. Well, remember the breakup I was telling you about? I had some great ones like Disaronno, Drunk, Black Hole. It was going to be a Disney album. But seriously, it's better they never saw the light of day because they were all really dark. I do have one more song I'm getting ready to release. That actually Dan and I wrote this one together. And I think this one's going to be about something different for everybody, so I'll let everybody decide what they think it's about. Sometimes I call you Johnny. Sometimes I call you Jay. Oh, sometimes I call you Jose. And I call you Gordon now and then. I can shake this feeling. You're always on my mind. Even though you always hurt me, all the days and then with wine. So I always plan on meetings. I've gotta have you right now. And I don't care where we're going. If you're there, I know that it'll be
in my hand be alone. And the world gets naked in my kitchen. With you I'll never be alone. And when the morning comes and we use each other up, I swear to God this time it's over. I found myself in love. And as the days go by, you whisper, I see you in my ear. Let me, my darling, know you want me. And I'm so tired of heartache. I know it's time for you to go. You take it too much from me. You made my house an empty hole. Sometimes I call you Johnny.
Sometimes I call you Johnny.
I'll let you decide what it's about.
A little bit more me with not drinking right now. But
Okay. It can be about all kinds of. Well, you know what? I've had my own sort of complicated relationship with alcohol, and you know, it's always something that I'm sort of trying to like. Is it working out for us?
it's hard in this industry. It's really hard because you go out and you go to a gig and then you have a drink, and then if you're singing, you're drinking because you're singing, and then next thing you know, you're 5-6 beers in. It's not even break time, and then people want to have a shot with you because it's break time, or then they want to share.
Oh, I'm a 2 girl because 3 is too many and never enough, and I don't sing better after 3. Also, I'm not a nicer person after 3, and I'm definitely not a nicer person after 4. And after 5, I'm belligerent.
Watch out for Prosecco.
I thought you were about to say her nickname, like the demon that comes out has a name.
No, actually, my demon is Henrietta Muscovich Schweinberger, and if that is my drunk name. But if it's just beyond and I can't speak well, then it's just Gussie. But she hasn't been out since 1999, and me spending the night in the drunk tank. It's a long story.
Oh. You guys got one more?
No more originals.
No.
I don't think.
No more originals, actually.
What is your favorite song to do together? Just your favorite fun song to do.
Christ, there are so many.
There are a lot.
What were we talking about the other day? There was one.
These are some of those we did the other day.
Oh.
I mean, that. Like
Yeah, I
that.
like doing that. That's super fun.
Or this one.
Oh, you know what? And she's my hero. Okay. So my first concert, and you didn't ask, was Anne Murray, and I worship her and Karen Carpenter. So we're gonna do a little Anne Murray.
Yeah, we'll try.
We'll try it.
We'll try it again. Yeah.
Okay, fine. There's the shadows in the moonlight, dark, and I'll meet you at midnight. Hand in hand we'll go dancing through the Milky Way, and find a little hideaway where we can lock the whole night.
where we rocked the whole night away. Shadows in the moonlight, right to the light of day. Aw, thanks for having us. That was super fun. We sang that one at the old folks' home yesterday.
So when is your next show? Where are you playing? What are you doing? Plug yourself in here.
We have got a Fembot show.
Dolan's the 10th,
So it's the 10th.
and then we have a us show.
We have a show, a Sheridan show, on May 24th at Rustico
Rustico.
for their grand opening of their new patio.
Yeah.
New patio?
Now, apparently they've redone their patio.
But they changed
Maybe
it.
they painted it.
I have no idea.
Put new bulbs around the outside.
I was like, I'm pretty sure that patio's been there since Mexi's.
It's I don't know what they did.
It's
They're having a grand opening
new,
though.
okay? For our purposes,
Maybe
it's-
they moved the door.
That's right. Wow. Anyway, that was really fun.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
For my beta tester.
Uh,
Normally we don't get to hear these stories. We see you on stage. We kind of get a little glimpse of the. I didn't know you were in a punk band. I will never forget that now.
I trap everybody and tell them everything all the time, so you're just not listening, Daisy.
I want to hear more of the stories when there's not a camera running and a couple of wobbly pops in your system, because I'm pretty sure you got some backstage stories that I want to hear.
Two is optimal so that I can still have friends. 3 means I'm going to be lonely. And there are going to be a lot of emails that I have to send. And NDAs will need to be signed.
Yeah, check your pockets, make sure you know where you were, what you did, how many stamps do you have.
Where's my panties?
Well, if you guys are like, come up, well, got those hard-hitting questions for you. Take care.
way. Real quick, buddy.
Before Gary, it was last minute. I thought Chad was going to be here, and I misread a message.
I've better stories.
And so I rushed. I was like, who can I contact? Who can I contact? I contacted Karine. I'm like, what do I do? She's like, try Gary. Okay.
I have better stories.
Oh,
Am I muted?
better stories.
One second.
Just do a quick little.
Some of this stuff out of your way.
With you sitting, I'm almost the same height.
You're
as you.
good.
All right.
No, not at all. I wear stilettos and stuff. Joke. But I'm also gonna. Oh, they're doing this with River. How about you, Miss Karine? You've been going everywhere. I just saw you were at the Playhouse and you went, was it Montreal? Did you do a show there?
Yes.
What was that?
Oh, yes. Montreal was over 3 days. So it was for an event organized by Explore and it's called Imagination. So it was like an immersive experience for the people of the big city to get immersed into New Brunswick. So there was like it's called Oasis Immersion. So where you walk into 3 different rooms and it's like light shows, like, so there's the beach, there's the waves, and there's the water on the floor, and you're walking between everything. So the first one was like a road trip theme. The second part was the Acadians. And then the third room was the Bay of Fundy.
Okay.
And then there were all kinds of different stands, I guess, like, I don't know, maybe a dozen of them, and from different cities and different areas of New Brunswick promoting their, what they had to offer. And so I got to perform there for, I don't know, maybe 7 or 8 shows. Or those 3 days, 6,000 people, and it was crazy because you always think because you come from a small place, and people from Montreal, they've seen everything. They heard it all, they've seen everything, and then you get there, you perform, and I had picked a song from an Acadian singer-songwriter, and people were just so welcoming, they were so appreciative. It was awesome.
I always love Montreal for desserts. It's one of those, like, you gotta stop there and just check out every little thing. There's always something to look at and see.
Yeah.
Awesome. How did you end up getting all of that? How'd you do that?
Well, I performed for the last couple of years in shows called, there was it's organized by Fusion Productions. So it's like a mini Cirque du Soleil. So when you perform, there's acrobats, there's dancers, and you're in those funky, weird costumes. And I had auditioned to be part of those shows before, and they never even returned my call, never even wrote back to me, like nothing. I was completely ignored. and then they asked me to go.
Wow.
So it was through them, right? So for the last couple of years, I performed in Fredericton twice, and then Heket also last year. And they just reached out, and I had other shows planned. And I was like, oh, Matt, I don't know. I'm singing at the Hilton on Friday, and then I have this other show at the Hilton on Saturday. I'm not sure that I can do this. And
Turn the tables on and be like, I'm too busy for you.
I know, but I wasn't realizing what he was asking.
Yeah.
And then I stopped, and I was like, holy shit. He just asked me to go sing at the Palais des Congrès. So I was like, Garry, what should I do? Oh my gosh, I was freaking out. And he said, no, don't worry about the show at the Hilton. We'll figure something out. And so, yeah. So that's how I got lucky like that, yeah.
Well, the first time I heard Karine sing, we were doing Ladies in Music at Graham Ross, and oh my god, I was hearing you sing. It was like a hot, nice peanut butter. I was instant lady crush. Like, I love you, a lady crush. I'll love you forever. That's it. That was it. I was hooked. So, first concert that you ever went to?
9 Inch Nails.
Awesome.
Did not see that coming.
No. Yeah, you see that coming, okay, huh?
I know, and it's funny because I sang some, oh my god, I always forget the name. I sang that with Chad in the car the other day, and he almost, thank God he was sitting with me. He would have fallen off. Yeah, I don't just listen to jazz.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Very first show you ever did?
It was with Sherri. My very first show was at the Tipsy Muse. Yeah, with Sherri. And I gave them a very fair warning before. I said, I'm having chest pain. So if I fall, please call the ambulance.
And what were you singing at that show? What was your key song for that first show? Do you remember?
Summertime.
Oh, did you sing it?
Yes. And Summertime is also the first song that I ever sang in front of anybody, and that's thanks to Garry. Yeah. Yeah, so that Summertime for me is like so special. Summertime, and the living is easy. Fish are jumping, and the cotton is high. Oh, your daddy, he's rich, and your mama is
stories, and I'm actually curious.
1976. Newcastle Sinclair Rink, April 1. April 1. I had the first album I ever bought was The Hobo's Going Crazy, April 1. I saw them in concert that year, and then the year after. It was very exciting.
Oh, nice. What was the very first show you ever played?
The first show I ever played is a good question. So when I was in high school, my sister was in university, and she was involved in musical theater. And they actually toured production of Godspell.
Nice.
And I was playing a little bit of guitar, not very much, and I didn't play any bass. But the bass player couldn't make the tour. So they, at least when they stopped in Chatham, which is where I was living at the time. So my sister said, oh, my brother can play, my little brother can play. So I had to play bass for Godspell, and I couldn't really read music very much. I'd taken some piano lessons, but I hadn't played bass. I borrowed a bass from a professional bass player in a country band up there. Can't believe he lent it to me. It was a beautiful Fender Precision bass. It was like gorgeous. Anyhow, and so I played it.
You can feel it in your soul.
The sound guy kept saying, tell the bass player to turn up.
I'm just here for your visual, nothing else.
So technically that was my first performance in front of other people.
What was your first band?
My first band, when I was, I would say 13 or so, I was in a garage band with two of my cousins and a friend of theirs.
What was the name?
Well, it depends on when you ask, because I had about 5 different names. At one point we were Swift. It had nothing to do with Rush, I'll tell you that right now. It was because we'd stolen, someone found a stop sign. And so it was like Swift Terrors on Parole was the full name of the band. So the short version was Swift, and then at one point we were Mars with a Z. Because that's what bands say. So we played, oh my god, it was terrible. We played, this would have been like 77-ish, and we played a lot of like Canadian content at the time, so we did like, and all that, and Back to Turn Road Ride, etc.
Yeah.
So that's fun.
What about you? What was your first band?
Fascinating Fembots.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
I should have assumed, because when we were setting it all up, Doug was like, "Are you going to introduce me to Sam?" I'm like, "Oh, I assumed all music people knew each other, but I had no idea that you guys had any kind of interconnection when I was asking everybody." But I'm not surprised, because I should just assume that all music people know each other.
To be fair, I do know most people.
Fair. Worst performance. You have one?
Yeah.
Are you sure? Like, I've got this vision of you. I kind of have you on a pedestal.
No. And Garry, you remember that one, December 1st, last year, after the Christmas, the tree lighting ceremony.
That was your worst performance? That was
Garry, I didn't have any voice left.
It was great. You were great. You were great. That was great. That was not a bad performance.
I see the pedestal is still where it needs to be.
Your worst performance doesn't necessarily mean bad.
Listen, I woke up sick that morning, and I didn't know it at the time, but I actually had RSV.
Oh no.
And I didn't know, but it was all there. And we were performing for an hour at the legislature tree lighting ceremony. And before the end, I could already feel my voice leaving. And I asked them to do an instrumental because we had a 2-hour show after that at the Hilton. And I was there with my little steamer at the Hilton, just going and trying to. And anyways, yes, I lost my voice, but people were jumping in to help. But people were also buying me a lot of warm whiskey and honey. You remember that? Yes.
Are you asking him to remember because you don't?
No,
Actually, oh, that show. Oh yeah, that was after the show. Yeah, that was a little, I would say it was a bad show. You were just having a good time. Oh, what about that time in Wasted Day? That's what I would have.
Oh,
That would have been my story.
Garry!
Here's where it gets
Oh my gosh! Yes!
Oh no.
Do you want to hear that story? It's actually very funny.
Yes.
Oh tell the story.
You know the full details.
I know, okay.
Was it
I
because he had the
full
whiskey
details.
this time?
No.
Oh no.
This is crazy. So, as you know, I haven't been doing this for a very long time. You know, like I don't have a whole lot of experience. And that day, that particular day, I was super tired, I was stressed, and I still work full time, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm tired, I won't be able to do this, and I normally don't consume anything. My husband had some of those like THC drinks that he would use to just like go to sleep sometimes, but I never actually saw him drink any, and I saw that over there, and I thought, shit, I need something to just calm down because I'm never going to be able to perform. So I just chugged the whole can, and then I left. And then by the time I got to Chad's place, I was okay. They thought I was pretty quiet.
He's giving some sideways looks over here. I'm curious to hear the rest of the reactions.
I was pretty quiet, and then we did a song. What was that again?
I can't remember.
I'll put your
Look at
records
you.
on. Girl, put your records on.
Right.
And then I just stopped singing. And Garry was there. Garry helps me out sometimes. And he was just going like, I'm like,
Her face, like she was just like not there. She was not there. She's just like staring at me. We're at Wasted Day, which is a great venue in St. John's. Oh my God, I'll never forget. It's like, sing the song. She just froze.
and I'm like, no. No, just stop it. Just stop it right there. Just stop it.
I am done.
And then my husband texted me and he said, oh my gosh, honey, I just saw the empty can. Tell me you did not drink all of it. I said, I drank all of it. He said, oh my gosh. He said, I weigh over 200 pounds. And he said, I drank half of it. And I'm, oh my God. So anyways, it was an interesting show, but I mean, to me, it was
You gotta be careful with gummies. I ate a gummy. I have a fair amount. I ate a gummy when I went out to Oromocto Gagetown at the old boot or something like that. I was just playing drums, wasn't singing, but it was break time, and I thought I'd just lay my head on the drum for a second. No, I fell asleep on stage. Don't trust gummies. Do not trust gummies or pops.
That was my first time.
Oh my God. So Garry, what was your worst performance?
I've had many. Two that come to mind. One, I was playing in the Brooklyn. I don't know if you remember, but at one point, Theatre New Brunswick did an original musical based on the story of the Brooklyn.
Okay.
Yeah, it was written. It was written by Alan Cole, and we did it at the Playhouse. The first time we did it at the Playhouse, they actually had the stage reversed, so we had sort of a cabaret set up in the backstage. It was actually quite interesting. And then the next year we did it again. We did multiple performances, and it was a four-piece band, but Mike Doherty was playing keys, and he was also singing and was dancing in the show. So what would happen is usually it was for part of the show, and certainly for the beginning of the show, it was a three-piece band: guitar, bass, and drums. And the first three songs were back to back. There was no break in between. So we walked on stage, and they decided we were going to start with a blackout. So we walked on stage, couldn't see a thing. And I had a microphone because we were singing a little bit of backup. So I'm not a singer, but we had a little bit of backup, a few lines which they took away gradually as the show progressed. But I walked on stage, and I hit my guitar against the mic stand, and it put it way out of tune. Just before the show was started. Just before, 700 people in the Playhouse. And 3 songs back to back, no chance to tune in between. So it's like I was going, and I was trying to avoid the strings that I knew were going to be really out of tune. It was just the worst experience of my life.
Oh no.
That was a bad one. And then my other bad one was, I don't know if anyone remembers Nick DeVries, but Nick DeVries was this wonderful old gentleman from Holland who used to play sax and clarinet, and I played in a combo with him for many years. But Nick was quite a character, and he would take any gig. It didn't matter. It didn't matter what it was. He could claim he could do it. So there was a wedding of these young folks, and apparently their parents had booked the band, and they booked Nick DeVries. And there'd been a request for like Crazy Little Thing Called Love. We can do that. He's from Holland. No problem. We can do that. So here's this jazz band trying to play Crazy Little Thing Called Love without any music. I think we had like one of those songbooks, like a clean songbook or something. Oh, it was, and then like the young people came up and said, "That's good, thanks."
That's good. You can stop that.
So that was just the wrong band.
So, could he technically play almost any gig? Well, he technically played.
Technically, yes. You may not want him to. Technically.
Awesome. Okay, so the musician that got you wanting to do what you do. Oh, is that you, really?
Really?
Do you not have a particular?
Aim higher.
Need to get up.
Oh, you're saying to ask him? I didn't think you mean. Oh, I feel like
No,
a podcast.
That's it.
Oh.
You see, I knew nothing about jazz. Nothing. Like nothing.
Shut up.
No, I'm telling you, I knew nothing. Listen, my first concert was 9 Inch Nails.
I know you don't know anything about jazz. You break down a lot
I
of that.
didn't know anything about jazz, and then I went to the Hilton at the Southside Shake, and then I heard them play, and I was like, oh my gosh, wow. And then me and my husband kind of enjoyed it. We went again, and then I saw Nick, who was on keys and also singing, and all evening. I was like, oh my gosh, I feel like I could just get up and sing along with him. So it's these guys, like him, Nick, and Chad. And when I reached out to them and saying, like, can I make music with me? He said, sure. I did a 2-hour repertoire already. I was like, holy shit. I don't know any jazz songs for like a 2-hour long repertoire, so.
What was your first jazz song? Summertime?
Absolutely.
Well, it was after summertime.
No, it was summertime. My first, and I still use it like even now for my first like show opener. Like I just.
But there's actually a backstory there, because we had been playing outside on the patio, and I heard her singing along with the music, and that's why we were playing a gig, and I asked her to come up and sing summertime. So that's why.
And that was the first time I sang in front of people, and I had been with my boyfriend for 24 years, and I had never sang in front of him. So when I got up to sing Summertime, I looked at him and I said, I don't know what I'm going to do. I'm either going to poop my pants or faint. I don't know what I'm going to do. And he said, honey, you cannot say no. You can't say no. Just go. And I remember I had my phone to look at the lyrics, and I had no idea when to stop singing so they could solo. I had no idea when to come back after a solo, because I had never played with any musicians before. And after that, that's all I could talk about for a whole week.
Well, I'm glad they overheard you. Honestly, I don't think we have enough jazz in this city. At one point, there was jazz everywhere. You can go anywhere without running into some kind of form of jazz and blues. And now, I kind of only hear it at the Hilton. I'm trying to think of where else.
Well, there's jazz on Thursday nights.
Oh, do they?
Yeah.
Everybody watching Thursday night.
Yeah.
When do you guys have your next show?
It's May 2nd in St. John at Trinity Gallery.
Oh, good. I forgot about that. Put it in my calendar. I'm playing tomorrow actually with Kelly Waterhouse at the Provincial for an Easter brunch.
Oh, okay. I like that place. Where do they put the music?
Well, they squeeze it in there somewhere.
I was gonna say there's not really.
You get a beat.
Yeah.
They're just gonna stick it in the wall.
And I perform at for the Liberty Lane Gala with Dan. This Saturday.
Next Saturday.
Well, some fun stuff coming up. Now, what about you? Who was your musician that got you wanting to play?
Well, I started off
With April Wine?
April Wine was a big influence. But after that, I got into sort of finger style acoustic stuff from Bruce Coburn, the big Bruce Coburn.
Nice.
And then in terms of the jazz, there was a jazz guitarist named Charlie Christian who only recorded for about 3 years, from 1939 to 1941, with Benny Goodman.
Nice.
He was like the first integrated group because he was black and the rest of the musicians were white. And so he was a really interesting and influential player. And then the Canadian jazz great